Do you remember Rhoda? In the 1970s, it made us laugh with sharp humor and unforgettable characters. But 52 years later, the lives behind those smiles took turns far darker. From sudden disappearances and broken marriages to shocking deaths, they changed in ways you may no longer recognize. Join us as we rediscover who they really were and honor the legacies they left behind. Valerie Harper, as Rhoda Morgenstern. Valerie Harper was born on August 22, 1939, in Suffern, New York, United States. At 35 years old, she played Rhoda Morgenstern, the sharp-tongued, self-aware best friend who became the emotional anchor of Rhoda. Her performance gave the series its voice, transforming Rhoda from a supporting character into a cultural symbol of modern womanhood. That success, however, came from a life shaped by instability long before fame arrived. After her parents' divorce, Valerie moved constantly between cities like Los Angeles, Jersey City, and Monroe, Michigan, never fully settling anywhere. The absence of a stable home left her anxious and lonely, pushing her toward ballet as both refuge and control. Those early years quietly forged the discipline that later carried her from Broadway stages into the Mary Tyler Moore Show and films like Freebie and The Bean. As her career accelerated, her personal life struggled to keep pace. Valerie Harper married actor Richard Schaal in 1964, but clashing personalities and professional pressure slowly eroded the relationship, leading to divorce in 1978. In 1987, she married Tony Cacciati, a steadier bond that endured even a near divorce in 2010. Together, they adopted a daughter, Christina, creating the sense of family Valerie had long searched for. That stability was tested when illness entered the picture. In 2009, Valerie was diagnosed with lung cancer, and in 2013, doctors discovered it had spread to her brain, causing leptomeningeal carcinomatosis. Given just 3 months to live, she chose resistance over retreat, continuing to act, speak publicly, and undergo aggressive treatment. Against all medical expectations, she survived nearly 6 more years, enduring intense physical pain with unyielding resolve. Finally, Valerie Harper died on the morning of August 30th, 2019, in Los Angeles, at the age of 80, due to complications from lung and brain cancer. She was buried at Hollywood Forever Cemetery, resting among Hollywood legends. Her estimated net worth at the time of death was about $1 million, modest by industry standards but earned through decades of meaningful work. Julie Kavner, as Brenda Morgenstern. Julie Kavner was born on September 7, 1950, in Los Angeles, California, United States. At 24 years old, she played Brenda Morgenstern, the anxious, insecure younger sister in Rhoda. Her performance grounded the series with vulnerability, balancing humor with emotional realism. That understated strength would quietly define every phase of her career. Raised in a Jewish family in Beverly Hills, Julie grew up materially comfortable but emotionally uncertain. Her distinctive raspy voice made her a frequent target for teasing, fostering deep self-consciousness and social withdrawal. Acting became her refuge, a place where insecurity could be reshaped into truth, eventually leading her to Rhoda and later film work such as Hannah and Her Sisters and Awakenings. Off-screen, Julie consistently chose privacy over spectacle. She entered a long-term relationship with television producer David Davis in 1976, a partnership that lasted more than 4 decades until his death in 2022. Though they never formally married, the bond was stable, loyal, and quietly devoted, reflecting her preference for emotional security over public validation. Professionally, that restraint came with a physical cost. Decades of voice work, especially as Marge Simpson on The Simpsons, placed constant strain on her vocal cords, leading to chronic tension and fatigue. Recording sessions were often exhausting, sometimes requiring dozens of takes to achieve emotional precision. Still, Julie persisted, accepting the physical toll as part of her commitment to authenticity. Today, Julie Kavner is 76 years old and continues voicing Marge Simpson. Living a reclusive life, she remains almost invisible to the public while her voice stays globally recognizable. With an estimated net worth of $85 million, her success reflects longevity, discipline, and emotional honesty rather than flash or celebrity exposure. David Groh as Joe Gerard. David Groh was born on May 21, 1939, in Brooklyn, New York, United States. At 35 years old, he played Joe Gerard, the rugged demolition contractor who became Rhoda Morgenstern's husband in Rhoda. His character brought romance, tension, and realism into the series. That role made Groh instantly recognizable to millions of viewers. Long before fame, Groh's childhood was shaped by financial strain and emotional unease. Growing up in a working-class Brooklyn neighborhood, he watched his architect father struggle after World War II, while constant arguments over money created a tense home environment. Seeking escape, Groh turned toward literature and performance, eventually studying English at Brown University and later training in London on a Fulbright scholarship. Those formative years built the intellectual depth that later distinguished his stage and television work, including early appearances before his breakthrough on Rhoda. As his career advanced, Groh's personal life became increasingly unsettled. He married Denise Arsenault, but the relationship collapsed under professional pressure, ending in divorce in 1975. A second marriage to Carla Pergande followed, only to dissolve in 1988 amid similar strains. Stability came later with his third wife, Kristen Anderson, whom he married in 1993 and with whom he raised their son Spencer, finding a quieter domestic life away from Hollywood's spotlight. Professionally, Groh struggled with typecasting after Rhoda. Though he continued working steadily in projects like 2-Minute Warning and the long-running soap General Hospital, major leading roles became rarer. Behind the scenes, an even heavier battle unfolded as he endured years of physical and emotional pain while fighting kidney cancer. The illness gradually drained his strength, reshaping his final years. Sadly, David Groh died on February 12, 2008, at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles, at the age of 68, due to complications from kidney cancer. At the time of his death, his estimated net worth was approximately $1.5 million, earned through decades of television, film, and stage work. Nancy Walker as Ida Morgenstern. Nancy Walker was born on May 10, 1922, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, United States. At 52 years old, she played Ida Morgenstern, Rhoda's domineering, sharp-witted mother in Rhoda. Her explosive entrances injected the series with biting humor and raw generational conflict. Ida instantly became one of the show's most unforgettable forces, feared and adored in equal measure. That commanding screen presence was forged in a difficult childhood. Standing just under 5 feet tall, Nancy endured relentless teasing and deep insecurity from an early age. Born into a vaudeville family, she was pushed on stage as a toddler, learning performance before she understood childhood itself. The pressure to succeed young hardened her resilience and propelled her toward Broadway, beginning with On the Town, where her comic timing first drew serious attention. From there, her career expanded relentlessly across mediums. Nancy became a Broadway fixture before transitioning into film and television, appearing in projects like Murder by Death and maintaining a long-running television presence on McMillan and Wife. Beyond acting, she also stepped behind the camera, directing episodes of The Mary Tyler Moore Show and Rhoda, a rare achievement for women in television at the time. Her versatility made her indispensable. As her professional life flourished, her marriages told a quieter, more complicated story. Nancy Walker married Gar Moore in 1948, but the union ended within a year. In 1951, she married David Craig, a relationship that lasted until her death and provided greater emotional stability. Their daughter, Miranda, became her emotional anchor amid decades of non-stop work and public visibility. In later years, illness slowly overtook her life. A longtime smoker, Nancy developed lung cancer, a disease that brought increasing physical suffering toward the end of her career. Even then, she continued working as long as possible, refusing to retreat quietly. Nancy Walker died on March 25, 1992, in Studio City, California, at the age of 69. With an estimated net worth of around $1 million, she left behind a 5-decade legacy proving that presence, not stature, defines greatness. Ron Silver as Gary Levy. Ron Silver was born on July 2, 1946, in New York City, United States. At 28 years old, he played Gary Levy, the intellectually sharp, politically aware love interest in Rhoda. His character introduced a more cerebral, socially conscious tone to the series. That role marked the beginning of Silver's rise as a distinctive, dramatic presence. That intensity was rooted in an unsettled childhood. After his parents' divorce, Ron was raised primarily by his mother, growing up amid emotional tension and early exposure to political debate. These experiences pushed him toward activism and academic rigor, rather than escapism. While still young, he balanced political engagement with artistic ambition, laying the groundwork for a career that would later include reversal of fortune and serious theatrical work. As his professional life grew more complex, so did his personal one. In 1975, Ron Silver married Lynn Miller, a social worker who later became an editor at Self magazine. The marriage produced 2 children, but gradually fractured under career pressure, ideological shifts, and long absences, ending in divorce in 1997. The separation mirrored a broader period of personal reevaluation. Health struggles soon followed professional success. A longtime smoker, Silver was diagnosed with esophageal cancer, a devastating illness that brought escalating physical pain and emotional strain. Even as the disease progressed, he continued working, appearing on the West Wing as Bruno Gianelli and remaining politically vocal. His determination to stay intellectually engaged never wavered, even as his body weakened. Sadly, Ron Silver died on March 15, 2009, at the age of 62 after a prolonged battle with esophageal cancer. He was buried at Westchester Hills Cemetery in New York. At the time of his death, his estimated net worth was around $3 million, earned through film, television, theater, and political media work. Harold Gould, as Martin Morgenstern. Harold Gould was born on December 10, 1923, in Schenectady, New York, United States. At 51 years old, he played Martin Morgenstern, Rhoda's warm, thoughtful father in Rhoda. His portrayal balanced the sharper, louder personalities around him with calm authority and lived-in wisdom. Martin became a stabilizing emotional force within the Morgenstern family dynamic. That depth was shaped early by hardship. Growing up during the Great Depression, Harold experienced financial insecurity that forced him to work while pursuing his education. World War II further disrupted his youth as he served in the U.S. Army and saw combat in France before returning home with lasting physical strain. These experiences instilled discipline and perspective that later defined both his teaching and acting careers. Unlike many in Hollywood, Gould's personal life reflected long-term stability. In 1950, he married Leah Vernon, and the couple remained together for 60 years, raising 3 children. Their marriage provided emotional continuity, even as Harold balanced academia, theater, and an increasingly demanding acting schedule. Family remained the constant center of his life, grounding him amid professional success. In later years, illness slowly entered the picture. Harold Gould was diagnosed with prostate cancer, a condition that gradually weakened him while he continued working as long as possible. Despite increasing pain, he maintained professional dignity, appearing in projects connected to the Golden Girls and theater productions. His perseverance reflected the same quiet strength he brought to his on-screen roles. Finally, Harold Gould died on September 11, 2010, in Woodland Hills, Los Angeles, at the age of 86, due to prostate cancer. At the time of his death, his estimated net worth was approximately $3 million, the result of nearly 50 years across film, television, and stage. Ray Buktenica as Benny Goodwin. Ray Buktenica was born on August 6, 1943, in New York City, United States. At 31 years old, he played Benny Goodwin, Brenda Morgenstern's boyfriend and later fiancé in Rhoda. His character added warmth and emotional stability to Brenda's storyline. Benny became a quiet counterbalance to the series' neurotic energy. That grounded presence was shaped by a demanding upbringing. Raised in a working-class family, Ray learned early that nothing came easily. He worked steadily while pursuing acting, balancing survival with ambition in New York's competitive theater world. Those years of discipline prepared him for a career built on reliability rather than stardom, eventually leading to consistent television work beyond Rhoda. As his career developed, Ray's personal life drew occasional public attention. He was romantically linked for a time with Julie Kavner, his on-screen co-star, a relationship that reflected their natural chemistry. Later, he lived for several years with actress Joyce DeWitt, but he never married. Over time, Ray chose a quieter, independent life, stepping away from long-term commitments. Professionally, Ray continued working steadily even as fame faded. He appeared in series such as House Calls, Life Goes On, and later films including My Girl, 1991, carving out a niche as a dependable character actor. Rather than chase leading roles, he embraced supporting parts that kept him working across decades. Now, Ray Buktenica is 83 years old and living in retirement, largely away from the public eye. His estimated net worth of about $1 million reflects a long, consistent career rather than sudden success. Though never a headline star, his work on Rhoda remains a defining chapter. Kenneth McMillan as Jack Doyle. Kenneth McMillan was born on July 2, 1932, in Brooklyn, New York, United States. At 42 years old, he played Jack Doyle, Rhoda's irritable, domineering boss in Rhoda. His abrasive presence injected constant tension and authority into the workplace scenes. Jack Doyle became one of the show's most memorable antagonistic figures, embodying the everyday cruelty of power. That rough edge came from a difficult beginning. Growing up in poverty, Kenneth experienced instability early and worked various jobs before turning to acting seriously in his 30s. He trained at the Actors Studio, where discipline and emotional honesty shaped his craft. These formative struggles fueled a career defined by raw intensity, later visible in demanding dramatic roles. As his career progressed, McMillan became one of Hollywood's most reliable character actors. He appeared in acclaimed films such as Ragtime, where he played a brutal racist fire chief, and delivered an unforgettable performance as Baron Vladimir Harkonnen in Dune. Additional roles in The Taking of Pelham 123, The Pope of Greenwich Village, and Salem's Lot reinforced his reputation for portraying menace, moral decay, and inner bitterness with frightening realism. Away from the screen, McMillan found stability in his personal life. He married Catherine MacDonald in 1969, and the marriage endured until his death, producing one daughter, Allison. Unlike many of his volatile on-screen characters, his home life was steady and private. Family became his emotional anchor amid a demanding and often physically exhausting career. Behind the scenes, however, illness cast a long shadow. Kenneth McMillan suffered from severe liver disease, worsened by years of alcohol abuse, causing increasing physical decline and pain. Even as his health deteriorated, he continued acting as long as possible, refusing to fully retreat. McMillan died on January 8, 1989, in Santa Monica, California, at the age of 56, from liver failure. At the time of his death, his estimated net worth was around $500,000, earned through decades of uncompromising work in film, television, and theater. Barbara Sharma as Myrna Morgenstern. Barbara Sharma was born on September 14, 1938, in Dallas, Texas, United States. At 36 years old, she played Myrna Morgenstern, Rhoda's outspoken and theatrically inclined relative in Rhoda. Her sharp comedic timing and musical energy added color and contrast to the show's family dynamics. Myrna stood out as a character who blended humor with show business flair. That expressiveness was forged early in life. Constantly moving during childhood, Barbara grew up without emotional stability, turning instead to dance as her anchor. Trained intensely from a very young age, she performed professionally in nightclubs before transitioning to Broadway, where discipline and endurance became second nature. Dance gave her control. Acting gave her a voice. Her career evolved into a long, versatile journey across stage, screen, and television. She appeared in films such as The Goodbye Girl and later projects like Con Air, while also becoming a familiar television presence. Roles on series such as All in the Family, Frasier, and Becker, along with countless commercials, kept her steadily employed even as trends changed. Rather than chasing leading roles, Barbara built a reputation as a dependable, energetic character performer. Her personal life followed a quieter rhythm. Barbara married drummer Al Stewart when she was young, and they had a daughter before eventually divorcing. After the marriage ended, she chose privacy over publicity, focusing on work, motherhood, and personal independence rather than high-profile relationships. As of 2026, Barbara Sharma is 88 years old and living largely away from the industry's glare. Her estimated net worth of around $800,000 reflects a lifelong working career rather than blockbuster fame. Though often overlooked today, her contribution to Rhoda remains a clear reminder that television history is built not only by stars, but by resilient character actors who never stopped working. Cloris Leachman as Phyllis Lindstrom. Cloris Leachman was born on April 30th, 1926, in Des Moines, Iowa, United States. At 48 years old, she appeared as Phyllis Lindstrom, Rhoda's sharp-tongued, socially ambitious friend, in guest roles on Rhoda. Her icy politeness and cutting sarcasm deepened the show's social tension. Phyllis quickly became a character audiences loved to hate, yet couldn't ignore. That bold screen persona hid a demanding early life. Raised in a rural Midwestern family, Cloris faced constant pressure to distinguish herself beyond her small-town origins. She entered beauty pageants not for glamour, but to finance her education, a decision driven by necessity rather than vanity. Those experiences pushed her toward disciplined acting training and eventually to New York, where her persistence paid off. Her breakthrough came on the big screen with The Last Picture Show, where she delivered a devastating performance as a lonely, neglected housewife, a role that earned her the Academy Award. From there, her film career expanded into iconic projects such as Young Frankenstein, where her role as Frau Blucher became legendary, and Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. These films revealed her rare ability to shift effortlessly between drama and broad comedy. While film brought prestige, television brought dominance. Cloris became a defining presence on The Mary Tyler Moore Show, winning multiple Emmy Awards for her portrayal of Phyllis Lindstrom before leading the spin-off Phyllis. Even as her personal life unraveled, including a painful divorce from director George England in 1979 after years of infidelity and emotional distance, her professional momentum never slowed. She continued working relentlessly, from sitcoms to voice acting, well into her 90s. Sadly, Cloris Leachman died on January 27, 2021, at the age of 94, from natural causes, with a stroke cited as the immediate factor. She was cremated shortly afterward. With an estimated net worth of about $10 million, she left behind not just financial success, but one of the most decorated and enduring legacies in television and film history: Raphael Campos as Ramon Diaz Jr. Raphael Campos was born on May 13, 1936, in Santiago, Dominican Republic. At 38 years old, he played Ramon Diaz Jr., the quiet, hard-working co-worker in Rhoda. His performance brought understated dignity and realism to the workplace storyline, grounding the show's humor in everyday immigrant experience. That authenticity was rooted in hardship. Raphael emigrated to the United States in 1949, growing up poor and displaced while struggling to find belonging in a new country. Language barriers, financial instability, and cultural marginalization shaped his early life. Acting became both escape and survival, eventually opening doors in Hollywood at a time when Latino roles were scarce and often limiting. His career, though never lavish, was steady and resilient. Raphael was discovered by director Richard Brooks and gained early recognition in Blackboard Jungle, appearing alongside Sidney Poitier and Glenn Ford. He later starred in The Light in the Forest, portraying Native and Latino characters with uncommon humanity. Across 3 decades, he worked consistently in television, including appearances on Gunsmoke, All in the Family, Centennial, and V, carving out space where few existed. His personal life, however, was marked by complexity. Raphael was briefly married to legendary blues singer Dinah Washington, a relationship that attracted public attention but ended quickly. He later married model Sally Boyd, with whom he had 2 daughters, finding greater emotional grounding through family. Fatherhood became a stabilizing force amid an unpredictable career. In his final years, illness overtook him. Raphael Campos was diagnosed with stomach cancer and entered the Motion Picture and Television Hospital in Woodland Hills in late 1984. The disease progressed rapidly, draining his strength and ending his career far too soon. He died on July 9, 1985, at the age of 49, and was buried at Valley Oaks Memorial Park in Westlake Village, California. With an estimated net worth of around $300,000, his legacy was not wealth but perseverance, a life spent fighting for visibility, dignity, and survival on screen. More than 50 years have passed, but the lives behind Rhoda still echo with triumph, loss, and quiet survival. Some found lasting peace, others paid a heavy price for fame, and a few are remembered only through the roles they left behind. Which cast member's journey moved you the most? Leave your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to keep these stories alive.